All right, half a day, everybody. Thanks so much for joining us. Welcome to the week. I'm Jason Salas. This is KU News Extra. And you may not know, but March is Social Work Month right here on the island. And there's going to be a conference going on from the 18th to the 20th. So to talk about that, we welcome to the Harmon Studios Craig Burns, who is the National Association of Social Workers Guam Chapter President-elect. Yep. Very long title, very distinguished title, and certainly very well earned. So Craig, half a day.
Half a day.
And we also welcome the President, Amy Borja Santos, for a little while longer.
Yes.
How much longer until you change
his term is effective July 1st.
Okay, very cool. So certainly you've got some more work to do ahead of you. And a social worker's job is never done.
No.
No, never.
Okay. Well, and as the incoming President, Craig, let's go over some stats. How big is Guam's social worker community?
I'm going to defer to the president on this one.
Sure.
She's very diplomatic.
Sure. We have, for our NASW Guam chapter, our current membership is about 75. However, there is about maybe 200 to 300 social workers on Guam. We've had our BSW program at the University of Guam since the first graduating class was in the 80s. And so we've been there ever since. So we have quite a few social workers on Guam.
And the number of graduates from UOG that major in social work, it's always a pretty good number every year. I mean, I've known many.
It has increased in the last couple of years. We've seen double digits in the last few years. When I graduated, for instance, it was only like 4 of us. But yeah, in the last 2-3 years, it's been 15 and up.
Well, what is the scope, Craig, of a social worker in relation to, say, where like maybe a lawyer would get involved, or a clinician, or a police officer, even for that matter?
Right. For social work, it's much broader than a lot of the other professions, because we're part of people's lives from the first breath of life to the last breath of life. Early intervention in the NICU, dealing with early life all the way through home hospice. And we also deal with substance abuse, counseling, as well as broader social issues and social advocacy and justice issues.
All right, so this year's conference is going to be down at the Hyatt, very good venue.
Yes.
Very hospitable, on the 18th to the 20th, like I said. What is the theme of this year's gathering?
The theme this year is celebrating diversity in Micronesia, empowering and developing communities together. The National Social Work NASW theme is social work paving the way for change. So every year we take the national theme and try and bring it home and make it more relevant to us here in Micronesia and here on the islands. And so that's what we're focusing on this year.
Are there any specific challenges that you and your colleagues face, like out here on Guam and maybe even regionally in Micronesia, that maybe differ from what social workers in the mainland have to deal with?
Yes, actually, we just recently passed our law for licensure on Guam, which was in 2012, and we've been working with our Guam Social Work Board to get everything started so we can start licensing social workers on Guam. And we are the last jurisdiction in the United States to get this licensure approved. So we've been working with them on that. So that's been a very big challenge. Change is always interesting, especially for so many years. We've never had this licensure, and now we are embarking on this. I would also like to mention that our first day of the conference is actually sponsored by the Office of Minority Health from Department of Public Health and Social Services.
Okay, and as I understand it, you're going to have a very distinguished keynote speaker this year.
We're going to have a number of distinguished keynote speakers, so we're
awesome.
Very, very excited. The first day, on Wednesday, we're going to have Father Fran Hazel, who's well known in Micronesia and on Guam, and also a young woman, Kathy Jetnil Kajiner, from the Marshall Islands, born or raised in Honolulu, but an internationally known poet, advocate, and speaker who spoke in front of the United Nations Environmental Conference not long ago. And then on day 2, we're going to have Vice Speaker Cruz and Alicia Limtiaco speaking as well to the entire group, as well as approximately 20 breakout sessions in the afternoons dealing with everything from breastfeeding on Guam to human trafficking, end-of-life issues, and many, many other excellent topics.
What seem to be the dominant issues that a lot of social workers deal with here? Because I would say from the outside looking in, when most Guamanians think of social workers, they tend to think of hospice care, substance treatment and substance abuse and things like that.
Well, like Craig mentioned, we are in many different areas of life, from the very beginning at the NICU or the neonatal.
I was not aware. I was not aware that
we have social workers
yeah,
in the
a social
hospital.
worker scope of responsibility. We start that early.
Early intervention and mental health issues from adults as well as adolescents. So there's a vast number. I mean, we're in every setting you can think of. We're in the schools. We're working with veterans. We're working with almost everybody.
Everyone, and even beyond the individual work or working
Correct.
with families, we're found in advocacy and legislation and policy development and analysis. So from working to individuals all the way to working for the international community, we're across the entire spectrum.
Outstanding. Okay, before we go to commercial break, how can people get tickets and where can they register if they'd like to attend the conference?
To register for the conference, they can email our chapter at naswgu@gmail.com. We're also on Facebook. They can message us there. And we just this year are able to accept cash check, or we can accept payment through PayPal this year, finally.
Outstanding.
We're catching up with technology.
All right. Well, Amy, you've got a few more months of work ahead of you and everything, but clearly the chapter is in good hands.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you both, and we'll see you at the conference.
Thank you.
Thank
We're
you.
going to be covered for you.
Awesome.
All right. Please stay tuned, everybody. We'll be back with more show right after.